Hello everybody and welcome to another one of our leadership training videos. As you may know by now, in these leadership training videos, what I do is I take you through a few thoughts and ideas, individual topics every time, to help you understand what it takes to be an effective leader or to become an effective leader. What are the skills and traits and abilities that leaders use and need? And what are some of the things that can make you even more successful depending on where you are in your journey? I know some people are at the beginning. Some say they're not leaders, they're followers, but they want to know what leadership is all about. So wherever you are in your journey, it's totally okay. This is for everyone, whether you're a leader, an entrepreneur, or just in life. So the idea is to share these and give you some insights. So today what we're going to talk about is one very specific topic. It is called overthinking. Overthinking. Because overthinking is a double-edged sword. What do I mean by that? Well, what it means is it can cut both ways. It can cut both ways. We'll come back to that. So very briefly, my name is Igwe. I have over 35 years experience leading, developing and training teams across 5 major markets in Europe where I've lived and worked, and more importantly across Europe, Middle East and Africa. So my insights on the one hand are geographically local, but they're also international and cross-border. Now, I always love to engage with you, so if you have any thoughts, comments, please feel free to like, share, let me know what your thoughts are around different subjects, and more importantly, subscribe to the channel so you know which videos are coming up, so you get notified, and equally you can look back and see what the other videos are that I've shared. So welcome. Overthinking. Overthinking. I don't know how many of you do it, but it is something that can be very debilitating. In other words, once it gets a hold of you, it can be very difficult to break. But it's so important as a leader, this whole overthinking aspect. And I'm going to share with you a quote which I've written out in full by Lee Iacocca. Many of you may not know, you may be not that generation, but Lee Iacocca, who I studied and observed and watched over many years, he was the ex-chairman of Chrysler. So he was chairman of Chrysler at the time, the major automobile manufacturer in the US. And he said this, and I think this is for me the foundational consideration for us all as leaders. Even the correct decision is wrong when it was taken too late. Think about it. Even the correct decision was wrong when it was taken too late. You see, how many of us as leaders spend our time considering information? Maybe it's strategic, maybe it's hiring, maybe it's firing, maybe it's a new customer, a new client, maybe it's a new positioning of your brand, of your company. Maybe it's entering new markets. You see, the more that you think about things, especially if we take it strategically, the more you plan something and the longer it takes for you to execute that decision, to make that decision. Just imagine your competitor may beat you to market. Your competitor may beat you to the client that you're going after or you're chasing. Hiring somebody and you've interviewed them twice, maybe 3 times, maybe even 4 times. And you've interviewed other people and you're procrastinating. You're going between yes, maybe, yes, I'm not sure. If we do this, can we afford him or her? And what will be the impact? And you go on and on and on. And I can say this because I've seen it in many companies where I've been involved, of course, in recruitment. And we have lost great talent because we've spent too much time thinking about the what ifs. You know that scenario? What if? What if I hire this person and he or she is wrong? What if I go to this particular market and it's not the right one? What if? That's what we are supposed to do as leaders. It is to challenge the decisions and choices that we are going to make. And then once we have made that choice, we have to execute the plan. One company that I worked in the boss, my boss, was always very quick to make decisions. So he made decisions quickly. And when he was wrong, he decided to slowly unravel the wrong decision. He recognized it, but he chose not to go from this way to that way, this way to that way. So if a mistake was made, it was then, okay, how do I extract myself from that situation? And I think that's an interesting aspect to consider. It's not just about making quick decisions, it's about making the decision at the right time, if you remember, as Lee Iacocca said. So let me take you through, just very simply and very quickly, a thought process. So one of the first things you need to consider when you're going to make a decision is, what is the information that you want and what is the information that you need? They're two different things. What you want and what you need and what you get are often very different. So you have to define, first of all, what's the information that you need to make that decision. By when do you need that information? So it's not just wanting the information and letting it run. You need to be able to come up with a time frame. And then from whom? So who in your team is going to deliver that? Or who from outside, another team, maybe a consultant, advisor, whatever it happens to be, from whom are you going to get that information? And then you have to look at the timeline management, as I call it. In other words, by when is great. If you say, okay, in 3 months' time, I want the information, whatever it happens to be. Whoever is going to deliver it will have delivered it. But are there individual milestones? A week, a month, 3 months later, what is it? I don't know. So what's the timeline management and who manages that timeline, by the way? So go through a very simple, clear process in your mind, and then that will help you as well. Because then you come to the point where you've gathered all the information, the knowledge, the insight, the data, whatever it happens to be. You have to have a review process. Now that review process, the first is if you're doing it collegially or you're doing it in your team or your department, so you're not the only one making that decision. So to go back to the example of hiring somebody strategic, good, important for your team, you would do that with the HR department. You may do that with your boss if there is a CEO or MD who needs to get involved if you're not in that role. So who are the attendees? Who's going to be part of that review process? What is the meeting agenda? You see in a previous leadership video that I've done, I'm very big and keen on agenda. Effective meetings are so important. We waste so much time in meetings and we get lost in the fog. So what is the meeting agenda? Set it out very clearly so you know what it's going to be, and then you set out the outcomes. So great to have the conversation, but what is it you want to have come out of that meeting once you've decided? You then make a decision, very important. This is the key part, obviously, based on the information, the discussion, etc. You come to a decision and you then execute the plan. And that execution of the plan is the key part. That's where the overthinking takes you to a point where if you structure this in a very clear manner, you get to a point where you then know that a decision has to be made. And once that decision is made, you execute the plan. You hire that person, you go to that market, you strategically go in that direction. Whatever it happens to be, you stop thinking about it. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope that I have given you some thoughts and insights to help you to manage the fact that as leaders, it is very easy to overthink, to keep things turning, to not make a decision for fear of making the wrong decision. But if you go through what I've described there, you will make it so much easier for yourself. It'll provide you with so much clarity. Obviously, each of those, you can break them down into even more elements, but in the time that we have, there's not enough time to dig in and unravel all those things. So I hope that this has resonated with you, left you with some thoughts and ideas. Please feel free to share, comment and like, and also, of course, give me some feedback on your thoughts, what you do, what you have done successfully. And subscribe to this channel so you know what other videos are becoming available and you'll be notified accordingly. So until the next time, thank you.